Hello and good day, pre-algebra. This time we're rocking and rolling with sound. We went over this lesson yesterday, however, the video was not posted. And so we're just going to do a brief recap so that you have the information if you need to look back, or if you weren't here, at least you kind of get what we did. So quickly, whole number, what is it? Positive number, not a decimal or fraction. You can tell last evening I spent it practicing my writing. It's already looking great. Integer, Griffin. Positive or negative numbers. So the only difference between a whole number and an integer is that integers can also be negative. Okay, integers are also not a decimal or a fraction. Okay, and then with rational numbers, we really open things up because what's everything that could potentially be rational, Abby?
Positive or negative numbers, including fractions or decimals that end or repeat.
All right, positive or negative number, including fractions or decimals that end or repeat. Okay, and what was that symbol, that mathematical symbol to show that something repeats itself, Kate?
It's a line over.
It's got the line over it. Okay, so if you have a decimal like 0.32 and that repeats itself, 0.32323232, and even though that does go on forever, because it repeats itself, it's still lumped in that rational category. Okay, then we have irrational, completely separate from all three of these. Camille.
Decimals that go on forever.
Decimals that go on forever. Do not end, do not repeat. And what's that symbol, the math symbol to show that, Colin?
3 dots.
The 3 dots. So 2.7931104, right? There's no pattern, no repetition. It doesn't end, it just goes on and on and on. Okay? That was basically the notes for yesterday, and then you had some homework questions that we'll talk about in a little bit. But questions on any of this? Questions on any of this? Okay. Scrolling down then to what you had to do for homework. If everyone does complete their homework, we get to play what's called the number game, which I won't explain the rules of it until we actually get to play it. But why you care is that if your class wins the number game, that is a potential bingo square on your board. Also, if you win the number game 3 times, then I bring you donuts, cookies, brownies, some sort of treat. Okay, so the incentive is there, folks. The incentive is there for you to get your homework done, but you all need to take part. Okay, you all need to get your homework done. 65. Who would like to share all applicable categories for 65? Tony. It is whole, it's an integer, and it is rational. Okay, it's a positive number. That's not a decimal. It's all 3 of them. Okay. Kylie, negative 12.7. Rational only. It is a decimal, which automatically eliminates whole and integer. Those are both non-decimal values. Negative 1, Wyatt. Integer and rational. Why is it not whole? Because it's negative, right? Wholes are only positive numbers. 2 points, 78, 78, 78, 78, 78. Sophie. Rational only. Okay, that 78 repeats itself. Negative 30/15. This was kind of the first curveball I threw at you, potentially. Griffin? Nicely done. It's rational and an integer because negative 30 divided by 15, negative 30/15, equals negative 2. Okay, so when you simplify it, then it does also gain that integer status. 3.36098 ... Someone new, maybe. Quentin? Irrational, which, remember, I told you couldn't use an I for that because that's integer. You had to use the IR for it. Or just, put forth maximum effort and write the whole word out, but who wants to do that? Lexi, 2/3. Rational, it's a fraction. 16, Kylie.
Whole number and integer.
Whole number, integer, and rational as well. Okay, and rational as well. 2.5, Dayton. Rational only. -12, Colin. Integer and rational. 2.35. And now, it's interesting here, notice the difference between this repetition bar and that one. That repeating bar is only over the 5. The 3 doesn't repeat. So it'd be 2.3555555, right? That 3 is only there once. But what do you got? Dayton. Rational, because it repeats. And finally, 7/7, we already talked about that one. It is all 3 of them because it does equal 1. It is whole, integer, and rational. Okay. Any questions on these? What do you got? 12, Quentin.
How was 16 all?
Because 16, it's a positive non-decimal, which makes it whole, right? And if you remember, this kind of got cut off up on the top here, but this diagram here, every whole number has to also be an integer, which has to also be rational. If you write whole, you're writing the other 2 automatically, okay? Because whole is the most specific one. If you'll notice, every time we've got a W, we also have an I and an R. That will happen every single time because every whole number is an integer, every whole number is rational, okay? But it starts with that positive non-decimal. Griffin.
I have a question for 2.78. Would it just be 787878?
Yep. Anything else? Okay. So your homework, which is actually going to be for Monday, because tomorrow is going to be a retake day. I mentioned earlier that the practice work for the entrance exam is up on Google Classroom. If you get the practice work done tonight, you have to do it, bring it in for me to see so I know that you know what you're doing going into the retake. If you get it done tonight, you can start your retakes tomorrow, which means when I update the grade book on Friday, then your score on that entrance exam will go up if you pass the retakes. I think the entrance exam was out of what, 20 objectives, something like that. So if you passed, 19 out of 20, your score is 19 out of 20. If you passed 10 out of 20, your score is 10 out of 20. To raise that grade, you do it by doing retakes. Once you pass it, then your grade goes up. Okay, so tomorrow is an opportunity for that. If you don't get the practice work done tonight, then you can work on that tomorrow during class. If you don't have any practice work to do because you passed everything, then new Khan Academy will be assigned and you can work on that. So everybody's gonna have something to do tomorrow, but it's an opportunity for you to get some retakes done during class time, so you're maximizing your productivity. Lexi. No. Yeah. And the reason why, I compare math to a lot of things. Today I'm going to compare it to swimming, right? If you can't tread water, right? If you can't stay afloat in a body of water, are they going to let you go off the diving board? No, right? You have to show them you can do this before you can do something that needs that skill. Math is similar, right? If you are struggling with, for example, rounding, then every time I have you round something, you're going to get it wrong. Even if you understand what we're doing that day, if your answer needs to be rounded, but that prior concept hasn't been mastered yet, then you're going to get your answers wrong. So those are things that are essential for you to know going into pre-algebra for success in pre-algebra. Does that make sense? Wasn't that a great analogy?
No.
Yeah. I just don't want you to drown. That's all. Wyatt.
So, what was our homework again?
Sorry?
What was our homework again?
Oh, I haven't told you yet. I kind of got off on a tangent. Sorry. Cade. Yes. Yes. If you don't have a printer at home, then we'll talk about other options. You can go to the library and print maybe. But yeah. Yeah. It's due tonight, 11:59 p.m.
No, the one on Friday.
It'll be assigned tomorrow, due next Thursday. Khan always spans from Friday to Thursday. It's always due Thursday at 11:59. What test? The retakes? If you get the practice work done either tonight or finish it early in class tomorrow and show it to me. Because if you turn in practice work and they're all wrong, I'm not going to let you take the retake, right? Because that wouldn't make any sense. So you have to get at least 5 of the 6 correct on the practice work to be able to take the retake. Yeah. Very well. Yes.
Is the Khan Academy gonna be the same, I guess, level of difficulty as it was?
No, these first 4 were all preschool assignments, just to make sure you could get into Khan Academy, know where your assignments are. No, starting with tomorrow's, they'll be pre-algebra level or 6th grade level if I want to review something. Wyatt. Yeah. So the practice work for the entrance exam is posted on Google Classroom. So you take a look at the results sheet and you see which ones you need to retake. You print out that practice work, do those things, bring them tomorrow. Tony.
For the I can statements, like on this one,
Mhm.
are they the same thing as the sheet on like the practice thing?
Yes.
Oh, I can't sign the Khan Academy logged in, but I'm still in like 5th grade on that too.
Okay, I think you signed into last year's account. I sent you an email with your current username and password. Check that, and if you're still having troubles, then after I'm done recording, you and I can do it. We'll go over together. Yeah.
Are we gonna say our math scores in front of class?
No, you are not. No. Blake.
I have the same problem as Quentin.
Okay. Once we're done recording, the 2 of you come up and we'll go through it. Shh. So the results sheet you got yesterday, right? It's got some marked off that you need to retake. So let's say you have to retake PO3. Then in Google Classroom, you go to the practice work, print it out, you take out PO3, you do that page, bring it to me tomorrow. I'll check it over, good to go. Then I'll give you the retake. Yep. Anything else? Okay. So your homework for Monday, folks. Your homework for Monday, since tomorrow we'll be doing retake day and not going over this, is still working with whole integers and rationals, focusing on their definitions. Okay. It says answer each question. Some questions may be not possible. What is a rational number that is not an integer? There's obviously more than one answer for this. There are lots of rationals that are not integers, but what's an example? A rational number that is not an integer. 4/8. I'm just going to reduce that to 1/2. Okay. Why is 1/2 rational? Haley. Because it's a fraction. Why is it not an integer? Because it's a fraction, right? So that would be a sample answer that you could have. Okay. The next one. What is a whole number that is not rational? What is a whole number that is not rational? Abby? Not possible, right? Every whole number is also rational. Okay? Not possible. Or if you want to be mathematically fancy and you want to put the universal symbol for no solution or not possible, it's a 0 with a line. Zero. Fancy. Yeah. Okay? So you're answering those questions there. Then the next section, scrolling down a little bit here, it says, determine whether the statement is always, sometimes, or never true. An integer is a whole number. Is an integer always a whole number, sometimes a whole number, or never a whole number? Sometimes it is, right? If an integer is positive, then it is also whole. If it's negative, then it's not. So sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So your answer for these 6 here will be always, sometimes, or never. The next one says, use a calculator to evaluate each radical and classify it as rational or irrational. Okay? Remember the difference, now that we're talking about irrational, the difference is a rational decimal ends or repeats, and irrational doesn't. So, if you've got a calculator, everyone take it out right now. If it's in your locker, keep it there. If you've got it, take it out. And Camille, could you hold your calculator up nice and high? So this is the recommended calculator for this course, what Camille has there and what I see many of you have. When I show you how to do something on a calculator, Cade, when I show you how to do something, I want to refer to this model. If you've got a different model, it might be the same. It might be a little bit different. You can always ask, okay? But to calculate the square root of 25 on that calculator, I want you to find the button that has x squared on it, okay? Because right above that, on the calculator itself, is your root symbol, okay? Which means that you have to kind of use a shift key first, since it's not on an actual button. Your shift key is way up in the left corner. It's the second button. So you want to press that first. Okay? Then press your x squared button, because what you want is that root.
Wait, what is the second button?
So way up in the left corner is a second function button. That's kind of like a shift key, like if you're using a computer. You want to press that first and then press the x squared key, because if you press second first, it gives you the root symbol instead. Okay? It's the second function button way up in the top left corner. It's the very top left button. It says second on it. Yep. 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 Folks, if you're having side conversations and you miss a step, this is technology. You got to kind of do things in order here. So first press that second function button way in the top left. Then press your x squared key. And your display is going to look like this. It'll give you a root and it'll give you a parenthesis. Okay? Is everybody there? So press your second first and then the x squared key. Okay? Everybody have the root symbol with the parenthesis? Okay. Now, you're going to type in the number that you want to take the root of, 225, and then you're going to close your parentheses. Right up above the numbers should be your parenthesis keys. You want to close the parentheses and then press enter. If you did this correctly, you should get 15 as an answer. Okay? Raise your hand if you did not get 15 as an answer. Okay. What this means is that the root of 225 is 15. Is 15 rational or irrational? Rational. And so that would be your final answer here. Okay? Let's go over to the root of 50. Again, second function button, then your x squared key, so you get that root symbol. And then you type in 50 and close your parentheses. What do you get? Camille?
7.0710678112.
Okay, a nasty decimal, right? The reason why is because 50 is not a perfect square. There's no number when you multiply it by itself that gives you 50. So is the root of 50 rational or irrational? Irrational. Okay, that decimal does not end. Okay? So for all of those, the four that remain, you're putting it into your calculator. If your answer is not a decimal, the number's rational. If you get a decimal, it's irrational. Why? That's your final answer. Yeah. directions are to ultimately classify it as rational or irrational. So that is your final answer, yes. Irrational is fine. Quentin.
For 83 has all those numbers, we just write irrational.
Correct. Okay. Then finally, it says, you and your parents are gathered around the TV one night watching the Discovery Channel when suddenly you lose your satellite signal. Not being used to interacting socially with each other, things are a bit awkward. Then you get an idea for a game. Each of you will take turns saying a number from one of the categories listed above. You can only say rationals. Your mom can only say integers. Your dad can only say whole numbers. The winner is the person who can say numbers from their category the longest. You just take turns, and whoever runs out of numbers first loses. Whoever can say numbers for the longest wins. Assuming you are each familiar with the categories, so you know what rationals are, your mom knows what integers are, etc., who will win and why? Okay? That is a question for you to answer. All right? Just a reminder that I expect you to attempt every question. Even if you don't know something, putting a question mark and writing IDK is not going to be acceptable. Okay? I need to see what you tried. Show me how far you got before you got stuck. If you don't know where to start, I don't know if it was this class that I made this analogy with yesterday. If I'm driving down the highway and my car all of a sudden starts to smoke and it breaks down, I don't know how to fix it, but at least I open the hood, take a look around. Okay? I at least start something. Right? I don't just put a big question mark on the windshield and walk away. Okay? Start it. Try it. That's what I want. All right, this is due on Monday. Any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, comments, congratulations, or criticisms? Jeffrey?
You're smart and wise.
Thank you. All right, that's how you math.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.